Javier Sagra with the title, President title, Prescribed Fire's Effects on Soil and Plant Properties in a Mediterranean Forest, please.
Thank you very much. Good morning to everyone. As he said, my name is Javier Sagra, and I'm going to present part of a project we are carrying out. I will present the part of prescribed fire's effects on soil properties in a Mediterranean forest. This is the structure that I will follow. We heard this morning a lot about the problems that we have in the Mediterranean region with the forest fires. In the introduction by Marc Castelnau, we heard about the problems that we have due to the reduction of the use of the forest and the fire exclusion. We have very high severity fires, and they are very large fires also. So these together have led to the implementation for new tools like the prescribed fires that we also heard this morning a lot, that they have very good benefits for the environment and also effectiveness and as a tool, economic tool, and so on. The problem is that not in all the countries and not all the regions in Spain they are so well developed and so well installed due to problems with controversy with society and administration, for example. So we are trying to work on this issue, and for that we are trying to seek for the consequences in order to of the effects of these prescribed fires, in order to see that there's not much harm, or how to reduce the harm if there is some. In this basis, we are studying the effects on the soil of this prescribed fire inside this project that we are carrying out, and my colleague presented some of the other results before. We settled this objective of studying the influence of the soil from these prescribed fires. On one side, we studied the infiltration and the water repellency. And on the biological side of the soil, we studied soil respiration as an indicator. So our study sites are located in three areas of Castilla-La Mancha, a central region in Spain. But the results I'm going to present, they are just in the southern part of the project. We have in each of these sites, we have 6 plots. 3 of them were burned, and 3 of them were remain as a control. Inside of each plot, here we can see 3 subplots where we take all the measurements. This is the plot that was burned, and inside of these subplots we take the measurement that I'm going to present. The stand that we are going to have the results from is a stand from Pinus alepensis and Pinus pinaster, with a very diverse understory, a slope of 10 to 15%, and around 50 years artificial stand. The prescribed fires was carried out on May 2016 by the Castilla-La Mancha Forest Services. Here are some pictures from the forest fire after the fire, how it remained. So coming to the results, this might seem a mess, and actually there is, but what I want to point out here is that each line stands for one sensor, giving the temperature for during the prescribed fire. What we can see here is that the temperature during the fire got up to 900 degrees in sun, depending on the sensor. But what is important is that the temperatures were maintained for more than 100 degrees in most of the sensor, almost all of the sensor, for more than 1 minute, which according to the literature is a temperature that is a threshold that has consequences on the plants and on the soil. So another important issue to point out is that although on the surface the temperature rises in a sensor up to 130 degrees, just 2 centimeters under the soil surface, the temperature only reach up to 30 degrees. So what did we do? For the water repellency, we carry out an experiment removing all the organic matter and the ash that was remaining on the soil. So, and on the bare soil, we We use drops of distilled water, and we leave them till they were absorbed by the soil. The results from these experiments are here, and as we can see, before the fire, there was a similar infiltration, water repellency from in seconds for the soil, and just 1 week after just after the event, the water repellency increased suddenly. 1 month after, there was still a significant difference between the burn and the cultural area, and 2 months after, the differences were not significant anymore. We think that, or we have observed also in the literature, that this can be due to the exudates of the essential oils that are in the needles and also in some of the bushes that are in the understory, and after they are burned in this high temperature, they are released and they remain on the soil. So we have this repellency into to the water on the soil, and after some rains, this effect is washed out and it disappears slowly. For the infiltration, we use this mini disc infiltrometer, and we remove the soil, and we remove also 2 centimeters of the soil following the procedure that was on the protocols, and we carry out the infiltration for up to 10 minutes, and using some formulas that I present here, we obtain the infiltration rates in centimeters per second. Also, we can see here that the same effect that before there was similar rates of infiltration, and just after it, the infiltration was reduced on the burn area, even more after 1 month, and even after 2 months, we still have significant differences for all of them. The literature here that we have found, we assume that this could be due to the clog of the pores of the soil, that they, after the roots are burned or they die due to the temperatures in the upper part of the soil, they collapse and they don't allow the water to infiltrate anymore. And finally, the soil respiration, we use EGM environmental gas monitor. We measure always in the same point on these tubes. We install them before the fire. We remove them during the fire because they are plastic, and then we install them in the same place, so we can have the rates of soil respiration in micromole in meter of CO2 in meter per second. So again, before the fire, we have a similar efflux, similar CO2 rates, but in this case, after the fire, there is a slight reduce, not significant. We only find significant difference after 1 month, but again, 2 months after that, there is not a very high reduction on the soil respiration. But in this case, we have seen in the literature that in many occasions the soil respiration is reduced due to the death of microorganisms and so on. But as other colleagues presented before, in some cases where there is more rain or the conditions are given, also they have to observe increments in the soil respiration. So we still need to carry out more analysis for this part of the research. So in conclusion, although these results are still preliminary, and we still need to carry out in all the areas that I present, and we need to carry out more research for this, we can see that the effects on the soil, they are transitory. After 2 months, we can see barely the effects on these variables, and we can only see high differences after the fire, and they slightly reduce as the time goes by. Finally, I would like to thank to the research groups that are involved in this project. Some of them are here, and these same pictures that my colleague presented before. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Javier. There is time for one question, please. No? Yep, David.
I was running out.
Could you relate this increase in the water drop rotation time test with the temperatures of your experiment?
In the water, water repellency.
The
you
water
say?
repellency test, yes. Have you relate this I don't know if it's really strong, because I think that it's just 8 seconds, maybe, but it's related with the temperature that you reach in your experiment?
We haven't correlated with the temperatures, but we have the data. We are monitoring the temperature on the soil from the day of the burn, even before the day of the burn, and after till today. We have sensors on the soil, so maybe it would be a good idea to correlate that data with the temperature. Thank you.
Thank you very much. One
Thank you.